authors of DNA was saying, I think it would be a good idea to DNA everybody at birth and put that information on a card, maybe an identity card similar to what they're looking into in England. So you'd have your unique identifying number associated with you on your card. Right? And this actually comes from China, this quote here. Citizens will use the card. This is a national ID card with a smart chip in it. Citizens will use the card to identify themselves in many settings, including when they make bank deposits, check into hotels and at airports, and when they trade stocks. Now, this is communist China, but you know what? This is sounding a lot like the United States at the moment. Think about the last time you checked into a hotel. Did they ask for your ID? Think about the last time you got on an airplane. They certainly asked for your ID then. And in fact, there was just a story saying that the bus system, the Greyhound bus system, is going to start requiring ID for you to get on a bus. Now, why do they need to know that? I ask myself that. What possible crime could I commit by just getting on a bus? Now, there is a summit coming up called the Future of Money Summit. It's in a couple of months. And there's some fascinating futuristic scenarios of what's going to happen to money. I put this up here because, first of all, I think the symbol's a little bit creepy. It's the pyramid. Oftentimes we see that pyramid with the all-seeing eye. That's the pyramid on the back of our dollar bills. That's the pyramid that was associated with the Total Information Awareness Program, which was a Department of Defense initiative to know everything in every database about every American, every purchase they made, every place they went, every telephone call they made, and bank deposit they made, had the all-seeing eye above the pyramid. I put this up here not because it's particularly unique, but because there are so many summits talking about the future of money. And what they all agree on is that cash is going away and all purchases very shortly will become digital. That everything we do is going to switch over to credit cards. So now imagine cash is gone and we switch to credit cards. What would that mean? And in fact, think about all the cards in your wallet. 5, 10, 20, 30. It's a pain to have to sift through all those cards. In fact, I call it looking for the 3 of spades. When somebody says, do you have your whatever card, your Safeway card, your Kroger card, and you're kind of going through, pulling it out, right? At some point, all of those cards are going to get so annoying that people are going to consolidate them into one smart card, which contains all of it. In fact, a couple years ago, there was something called the Driver's License Modernization Act. And what it would have done would be to take our driver's licenses and put a smart computer chip in them and load all of that information on them. So then at the supermarket, instead of presenting your loyalty card, you'd be presenting your ID card, making it really easy to verify your identity. And the same with every other place you had a card, your health club, your phone card, etc. So the future of money, the way it is being described out there is it will be smart chips. All of the information will be contained on one smart chip or one smart key fob, and you'll carry that around, and everything about you, including even your medical history, would be contained on it. Right? Visa is already doing this. September 2002, Visa International is making a push with a new smart card payment system that would allow hands-free transactions. Same idea. You've got your credit card. You just wave it. And the reader from a distance reads the radio frequency chip inside of it, identifies you, and makes the purchase without you having to really do much of anything. Right? And in fact, this Bank One Visa card here is equipped with a radio frequency device that can actually be read at a distance, meaning that in the store of the future, it would be possible for you to simply put all of your items in a basket, get up to the checkout, put it on a little conveyor that would just kind of run through. You literally pick up the basket, let it run through. It would survey every item in there using tiny radio frequency chips embedded in the items. And then it would read your credit card information right through your wallet. Of course, at that point, you would only have one such device in your wallet, so it wouldn't be competing of 10 different credit cards. You'd have your one. You determine which one you were going to register with the store. It would read through there, and you just walk right out. In fact, a lot of people have told me about an ad a couple years ago where the guy's like stuffing things into his shirt, and he's kind of sneaking, and he sneaks out to the door to leave the store, and they go, sir, you forgot your receipt. You guys seen that ad? Yeah. And the idea is this is how we will shop in the future. We won't have to fuddle around with cash or money. We can just walk out of the door. And something about us, something associated with us, would be sending enough information to make the purchase. Right? This device here is a radio frequency enabled loyalty card from a grocery store. It is the next generation loyalty card. And in fact, the gentleman who gave it to me was boasting that having 2 antennas on there coming out of that central chip would mean that your identity could be read at a distance using this device of up to 20 feet away the minute you walked through the door of the store. And in fact, there are plans underway to use these loyalty cards to identify and discriminate against people based on their value to the store. And in England, there are a couple of chains that actually employ bouncers and have been talking about using information about you contained on this chip that would be beamed out at a distance in order to decide whether they would even serve you, and in some cases even let you in the door. And I had a dream about 6 months ago that was really disturbing. I dreamt that I was looking at the entrance to a store, and there were people huddled outside of the store, unable to get into the store, and they were begging people going in to please buy items for them. So using this technology and using the store's current idea of discriminating against valuable and not valuable customers, maybe even offering them different prices, it would be possible in this world to say, well, wait a minute, the last 10 times you came in the store, you only bought items on sale, you cost us more than you made us, and you know what? The door's not going to open for you when you get to the door. We'll just read you, identify you, just like we like to do on the way out when you pay. We'll do it on the way in, and you know what? That door just won't open. Or when you get up to the checkout counter, we'll actually identify you there, and we'll say, sorry, you can't buy this on sale. You've bought too many sales. You've passed your quota for the month. So it is possible to use these devices to identify people and to treat them differently and discriminate against them. And this is being planned already. I've read the documentation. All right. Now, we were talking about cash. And if cash becomes embedded with tiny radio frequency devices, let me explain how these devices work. It's a tiny silicon chip, a tiny computer chip that contains a unique identifying number. It can be read at a distance by beaming electromagnetic energy at it. It stimulates the chip hooked up to an antenna. The antenna magnifies the radio signal, sends back the number to the reader device, and enables it to be identified at a distance. If you put these into cash, what it means is that every single banknote coming out of the Federal Reserve would have its own unique number. Now, currently they have unique serial numbers, but there's no way really to read them, and certainly not to read them at a distance. If you do this with cash, and you put unique identifying numbers, as the cash comes out of the ATM machine, or as the teller hands it to you at the bank, or as the Walmart teller gives it back, or cashier gives it back to you as change, that can actually be registered to you in the database, meaning that if you took that money, now let's say we move to the point where we've got this global sales tax, and let's say you went to, a yard sale, and you wanted to buy somebody's sailboat, and you gave them $300 bills for their sailboat, and you didn't pay the tax. Because remember, if we move to a global sales tax system, not paying tax on something would be a huge crime. And now it's kind of a minor crime, but in the future it's going to be a massive crime because it's going to be the government's only source of income. So now you buy somebody's sailboat, you give them $300, and you don't register that cash, and you don't pay the sales tax on it. Now he takes those $300 and he tries to do something with them at Walmart. Walmart could say, well, wait a minute, this wasn't registered to you. This wasn't an official transaction. You're under arrest. Where'd you get this money? We're confiscating it. This is contraband. So if cash becomes identifiable and linked with individuals, the anonymity of purchases could go away, and our ability to make transactions that the government doesn't know about would go away as well. Even if you just gave $20 to your roommate, it's possible that that could come under suspicion. And the excuse given for this, the explanation given for this, is to stop counterfeiters and to track money launderers and drug transactions because of the big underground economy where cash is changing hands and it's not being recorded in the database. And right now, every transaction, the push is to record all transactions in a database. So there's a real government uneasiness with the idea of any money changing hands. Now this is, bear in mind, this is before we even have national sales tax. If it's that way now, imagine what it's going to be if we get national sales tax. It's going to be the new drug war, where every single thing you do is going to be scrutinized. Now let's talk about the VeriChip implant. All right. The VeriChip implant is a tiny RFID device containing a unique individual number that has been proposed as a way of verifying who individuals are and information about them. The VeriChip currently is produced by a company called Applied Digital Solutions. They also make something called the Digital Angel. The VeriChip implant is normally inserted into this part of a person's arm. Not many people have taken it yet. It's not a very popular technology because it gives people the creeps. Right? But the idea of this technology is once you have it in there, you can be identified if you had a coma or ran into trouble. Someone could scan across that thing, pick up your number, look you up in a database, and know who you are. Well, now imagine for a minute that we have a system now where they want to identify who you are. You've got all of your stuff in a key fob or a credit card, in a smart card, or in your driver's license. If you lose that thing, you're in trouble. You then strap it on your wrist, so we move to the next stage. Now we've got them on people's wrists. If someone comes along and steals your wristwatch, then you're really in trouble, because it's not just stealing your wristwatch, it's stealing your entire identity, your medical history, and everything about you. So the next step, the next logical step to prevent crime and identity